Maybe we cut down that 10-minute timer to 5.
There we go.
There we go. Are we
Yay.
live? Yes,
Yes.
we are.
We are live, but there's the microphone that wasn't working.
We had no sound. So here we go. Oh, my phone is beeping already, Sandy, letting us know we had no sound. There you go. Yep, we're live. Okay, good. We're aces. This is the problem. Him and I get sitting here talking and then realize that we had 6 seconds to get live. So not a good thing. Not a good thing. We have some interesting conversations. Today we were discussing cryptocurrency.
Yep.
Something I know very little about, and he seems to know quite a bit about. So
I'm still learning.
Interesting conversation. So I hope everybody had a marvelous Thanksgiving. I've been watching social media the last couple of days, and a lot of the faces I'm used to seeing just aren't on social media this weekend, and that's really nice to see. That means that you are busy with family and friends and enjoying all of that good food, and social media has taken a background, and I think that's awesome. And I hope that you had a fabulous, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving. We are having a snow day.
Yay!
We have had our first major snowfall for the winter. And it's still snowing. And Miss Dot had her skis on today, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it's a little on the cold side today, wet, a little bit windy, and the snow is flying. So it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. That's what it is. And I suppose everybody's out Black Fridaying still.
Fridaying?
Black Fridaying. Yeah, I don't do Black Friday.
Yes, there is video of Dot on her skis.
Yeah, it's super cute. I'll put it up on my Facebook page later today. You guys be able to see it. She's so cute. Slip sliding away.
Yep, she was loving it.
So earlier, you guys sent me a ton of messages this week. I wanted to say thank you for that. I was a little under the weather at the beginning of the week and nasty sinus headache, and it sort of stuck with me for a few days. And by Wednesday, I really wasn't feeling all that great, headachy, and honest to God, it looked like death warmed over. So I had to cancel a couple of things. So we didn't do a color of the week for decor this week. And I am feeling more of the thing, but I also had doctor's appointments this week. Had to go get my eyeballs looked at. So I came home with a ton more prescriptions for my eyeballs. Got new glasses coming. They'll be fun. I got some nice chunky bright red
Horned
Tommy Hilfiger glasses. There's some really fun frames. So I figured there's no color left in my hair, so I'm going to put it on my face. Big glasses.
Comedian. Bright pink curly hair and the...
Oh, the big glasses?
Big bright glasses.
Dame Edna.
That's it. That's her.
No, I don't. They're not quite like Dame Edna's. Although I have the hair.
That'd be hilarious.
I have the hair, but I don't have the glasses. But I did. I got some fun glasses, so those will be in probably next week. And so I have not been in the studio much this week. I usually, spend a lot of time here during the day, but I haven't been down here because I haven't been feeling all that great. And then I usually come down in the evenings after dinner and spend a little time in the studio playing and creating. I haven't done that either. I spent most of this week snuggled up in my favorite chair with my big fuzzy blankie. So,
Having fun with the zombie again.
Having fun with the zombie. So, I didn't spend a whole lot of time painting or designing this week. I usually have at least some sort of new pattern for you at the beginning of the week. I did work on the group painting. I was hoping to have it finished today, but it is not. So I'm going to finish that up probably tonight, tomorrow,
So we got people from Texas. We got, there's Sandy.
Miss Sandy.
I should put the link for Dot's video.
Oh, she found it, did she, on Instagram?
I'm not surprised that she found it that quickly.
No, no, Sandy's pretty handy but she's on Instagram and she's on TikTok. She's a whiz when it comes to social media. So my darling Sandy is a whiz at most things she tackles. So
were you watching Christmas movies?
I don't do Christmas movies. I'm not a Christmas movie person. My idea of a Christmas movie is Die Hard.
It is not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from the Nakatomi Tower.
That's right. No, I'm not big on Christmas movies. They're a little too mushy for me.
That and Lethal Weapon
Yeah, Lethal Weapon too.
2.
No, it's same with Hallmark movies. Everybody brings out the Hallmark movie. I can't do it.
No,
No, that's like a Harlequin romance on screen. I just can't do it.
no.
So yeah, I'm not big on
Die
Christmas
Hard and Die
movies.
Hard 2.
I do, however, love good Christmas music. So, but not too soon. And right now it's too soon for me. So a week before Christmas, that's when I start to get the itch, and I have to listen to my faves. So
Got a bunch of people saying Die Hard's my Christmas movie too.
see, they're my tribe. They're my tribe. No, I think yeah, Die Hard. Um,
It has to be watched on Christmas. It's just,
yeah, that's when I want a Christmas movie. Christmas Eve after we've corked ourselves with all the goodies we put out for dinner, and have a glass of wine.
Got a good buzz on Bailey's and
Yeah, exactly. So that's my idea of a Christmas movie. I just don't do Christmas movies. But I do kind of lose my grip at Christmas time. I do a lot of baking, a lot of cooking, and I do a lot of decorating. So, and I've already started. So, little bits they come out a little bit at a time. I make something or do something new, and they all came home last night at dinner time, and there's a brand new doormat out front with a red truck and a Christmas tree, and things just sort of appear. But ta-da! Yeah, I haven't put the tree up yet. I don't do my tree for another couple of weeks, but yeah, soon put the lights up and whatnot. But we have next weekend is coming up really fast. Our 12 days of Christmas. I started putting together some of the prizes for the day. It's like, oh my god! I have one of those kitchen carts. It's 3 tiers with a bin, about this deep. It's full. All 3 tiers are full. There's brushes and stamps and stencils and surfaces and so much stuff. There's stuff from Decawart and Covert Distributing and Sheila Landry, Sandy McTeer Designs, paintingwithdeb.com, a new company I found that makes surfaces called Roshko. Awesome surfaces. Going to show you that a little later on. And oh man, there's so much stuff over there. It's not funny. So we're going to be putting together some really, really great prize packs. I had initially, we call it 12 Days of Christmas because we usually do 12 prizes. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot more than that. So don't forget to join us December 4th. We've got the 12 Days of Christmas. We are painting the cardinal on that day. The pattern is up on the website if you want to paint along. So yeah, this is the one we're painting on the 12 by 12. I love this pattern. I did it 2 ways, one for this surface and then one for the tall skinny surface from Covert Distributing. And then I also changed the lettering in it, so there's 3 languages in the lettering. So you have French, English, and Spanish. So it says Merry Christmas, Joyeux Noël, and Feliz Navidad. So we have that lettering is in that pattern. So if you're going to join us, make sure you're here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because we're going to start giving out prizes almost immediately. Otherwise, we will never get through the day. That's all I can say. Or get done painting because we are going to have a lot of stuff, a lot of goodies to give away. So little presents for people going out. Members, watch the mail starting this week. We've got a little prezi going out to you. And we also have 2 special gifts going out this week to 2 of our members that have been instrumental in helping us with all of this. So they don't know who they are yet, and I'm not going to tell you, but 2 of you are going to get something special. So, so there's that. And today we're going to paint grapes. Going to do some grapes. This is what we're going to do today. This is vintage grapes, vintage textured grapes, actually. This is a really fun piece. It's not as difficult as I know you're all going, oh my God, crepes. No, it's super easy. This one is an easy one to paint. So if you are ready to get started, so am I.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep it in the frame, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Down. Thank you.
Am I
Not
messing
left
up?
or right. It's just up or down.
Up or down? Okay.
Sit down.
Okay.
There you go.
Woo.
There.
Okay. So this is the piece we're going to paint. I love anything with this sort of Tuscan look to it. And this one has a really light texture on it. So we're going to use a little bit of texture paste for this. It can be any kind of texture paste. It doesn't have to be this one. It could be modeling paste. It could be drywall compound if that's all you have. It's going to work. We're just going to create a little background texture with it. And it's super easy to do. So I already have a canvas prep, but I want to show you how to put that texture on. And I'm going to grab, I prepped a canvas with black.
What is this? Did you decide which night for the members project?
Yes, we are doing that on December 1st.
So next Wednesday.
Yeah. So I base coated this canvas with lamp black because texture paste is white. If I put it on white canvas, you're not going to be able to see how I do this. So I wanted you to be able to see how I'm putting this on. So I painted it black so you'll be able to.
So you can see it.
So you can see it. I'm going to grab a palette knife. Now I'm working with a little bit of Decor Media texture paste. I like this one. It's not coarse. It's not a hard one to work with. It's a little on the creamy side. It dries kind of funny. You know, it's not perfectly white, but it actually has almost like a acrylic added to it. So it dries quite hard. So you get a nice finish out of this stuff. But as I said, you can do this with drywall compound. You can do this with modeling paste, almost any kind. You can do this with gesso. If you've got a nice thick gesso, use gesso. It'll work just fine. So you can see I don't have a whole lot on this palette knife. You don't need a whole lot. And we're going to put on really thin patches. Just like that. Super thin. We don't want a ton of it on this surface because it's not necessary. All we're going to do is bury the texture of that canvas. And if you're working on something other than canvas, you're going to do it just as thin because there's no need to make it heavy. So if you notice, I'm putting it on very thin and I'm not working too hard to put this on. So when you get to the point where there's nothing at the edge, just lay the knife on the surface and just drag it across. And it'll do two things. One, it'll clean off most of the texture off your knife, but look at the texture it creates. It's not a super heavy texture. It doesn't need to be. We are creating some background texture. If I put a ton of this on, it's actually going to be harder to paint.
Texture paste different from crackle paste?
Yes, it is. Crackle paste has a crackle medium added to it, so it's going to crack as it dries, whereas the texture paste just dries the way you put it on. So I'm just dragging that dirty palette knife across the surface. You see how it puts little deposits in these little patches that you see down in here? All these little patches. That, even though if I tip it on its side, you can see there's not a lot of texture on there. It's super thin. But this is a different texture than the canvas texture. So what it creates is some variations in the overall surface. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. And then when it's completely dry, you can give it a light sanding, which means very light. You just want to give it a light scuff, nothing too heavy. The other thing, when it's super thin like this, dries really fast. So you can continue to work. So you can use a hairdryer to dry this. When it's super thin, you're not going to have to worry about it cracking. If you put it on thick, it will crack when you force it to dry, but when it's thin like this, it doesn't.
Nope, Sheila didn't in the chat.
Hey, my girl Sheila. Sheila is just...
Sorry, she missed the game.
It's okay. Miss Sheila, you're on your way to your break. I can't wait to see what you do while you're taking a break from all that hard work. I know she's probably going like a scalded dog this week, trying to get all of her orders shipped, and so that she has time over the next 4 or 5 weeks to just paint and create. And she is a creative soul, so I can't wait to see what she does. If I know her, she's probably already chosen a challenge for herself with her pastels or color pencils or watercolor.
She says, I am excited.
I'm excited to see what she does.
She says yes, a few more busy.
Yep, a few more busy days and then she gets her break.
I do not have texture paste, so I use Deckword's Dimensional Effect Paintable Texture Paste.
That will work just fine. Yep, that will work just fine. As I said, I mean, you can use almost any texture medium.
It became quite rubbery.
Yeah, that's normal. It has a latex in it. Yeah.
And is there a way to restore dried texture?
If it's dried completely, no. But if it's gotten stiff and thick, yes. You can add a little bit of water or a little bit of retarder to it. And then just mix it really well. It's normal for it to get a little stiff because it's in a, the container is probably not completely airtight. And there's a couple of things you can do to prevent it from doing that. Look at that. It's almost dry.
Several shallow.
Yeah. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Stuff for me and you.
Uh-oh.
All of you, I mean.
Oh, good.
We're people.
Mm-hmm.
What is the texture you're using?
The one that I am working on with right now is Deckwork Media Texture Paste. I like this one for this kind of thing because it's a little it's a little creamier, a little smoother. Gesso also works beautifully for this. If you're using it like a thinned gesso or like the media gesso, because I like that one. It's got a little bit of oomph. So if you have a look at this, it is, remember those little tiny patches that I was talking about? They actually have a really significant effect on how this looks in the end. Even though it doesn't look like much, it's going to drastically affect the end result. So I'm going to take my sandpaper, just a little light stuff, take off any little sharp bits that are sticking up. That's all you really need. Look at that. So from here, just go at it with a coat of light buttermilk or buttermilk. If you don't have light buttermilk, that will work just fine. I'm going to throw a little bit of that on. Grab me a brush.
Normally she would do this on a white canvas.
Yeah,
She's doing
normally
it on black so you can see it.
Yeah, if I put that texture over a white canvas, you wouldn't be able to see what it looks like. So I put it on black so that it's a little more obvious. So when you put your light buttermilk over top of it, for this part, neatness doesn't really count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs because we're creating texture. So if you have brush marks in your surface, that's okay.
Any specific grit on the sandpaper?
Just the fine one. You want a medium to fine sandpaper, just enough to take those little sharp edges off. That's all we're really doing.
You're gonna make it look like stucco? Kinda.
We're going to make it look like old dry stucco.
Plaster.
Yep, old plaster, yep. Stucco Italiano. That's what it's going to look like.
There's a word for that. There's a word for that. It starts with an F.
Frescolino? Fresco.
Fresco, yes.
So 1 or 2 coats light buttermilk over top of that texture is all you need. Now, I don't know if you can see that in there, but there is some texture.
A little bit.
It shows up just a little bit. But when you start adding color, you get a lot more contrast. Now, I had a duh moment and I put all of this on there, not realizing we had to do one more technique. So here is my canvas all prepped.
You put your horizon.
I put everything on, not even thinking I hadn't done my background. Hello. So I've got 2 coats light buttermilk on there. And you might be able to see a little of the texture when I turn it this way.
No.
No.
I can't see it anyway.
Yeah.
Nope.
But
right there.
Right there. So you can very lightly see some of the texture. Now, some of what you're seeing is the canvas, and some of this is that texture medium. So in order to make that pop forward, we need to use a little bit of color. Now, I'm going to use a little raw sienna. You can use honey brown if you want to. Raw sienna is just always my go-to for this kind of thing. I just love the color. Okay, that's honey brown.
Can it be sanded down if you have too much texture?
It will, depending on the type of texture medium you use. You can sand it a little bit. But my rule of thumb is always less is more. Use it very sparingly and thin layers, and then, because you can always put more on.
Fresco. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do what like an old fresco look. So I'm going to use a high-tech applicator, which is, I've taken a sheet of shop towels. I'm going to bundle up a piece, and I'm going to tuck that piece inside another piece, so it makes a little pillow, comme ça.
High-tech applicator.
That's my high-tech applicator.
Does it have Wi-Fi?
No, it does not.
Bluetooth?
No.
I only asked because it's blue.
So I'm going to get this wet. I've got a little bit of water in there, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of glaze, but you can do this just with water. I just habitually use Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze for everything. So now you're going to take that color and you're going to work in a circular fashion with a nice light touch. And you're going to work a little of that raw sienna into that texture.
Raw sienna, not burnt sienna.
Yeah, raw sienna. Burnt sienna is going to look a little too strong, methinks. And when the color starts to run out, pick up a little bit more. Now, all of that water and glaze does is just help move that paint around. And when you feel that it's not moving anymore, just get it wet again. Now, you should be able to see some of that texture popping up. So it creates a lot of visual texture, but there's not a lot from a tactile standpoint. So it doesn't feel rough. It just looks rough.
Am I in microphone timeout?
No, he was just being quiet for a change.
Microphone
Timeout. Yeah, we took the microphone away from you.
Yeah.
No.
And the microphone is actually further away from me than it is her.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
So I love this look. I love that it's anything old world I love anyway, so kind of just really appeals to me with this. It does look dry. And we're going to do this again with a little soft black and a little asphaltum, and it's going to take on a really nice aged appearance. Now, if you're using a little bit of water and you're really blending well, you're not going to see big streaky marks in your finish. And I've tried doing this with a brush and it just doesn't work. This has always just been that easiest way to get that color in there.
GL Brew. When I do this, I blow a hole through my high-tech applicator.
You know what? So do I. I can wear that sucker out really quick. Now, you notice that I'm going around the outside edge and then I'm letting that color sort of fade out as it comes to the center. There's a reason for that. I kind of like to keep that center part lighter And so I avoid putting a whole lot of color there until I'm ready.
Oh, does Jo Sonia have a floating medium?
No, it's not a floating medium. She's a flow medium. I use the fast dry glaze for floating.
It's raw sienna.
Yeah, the color I'm using is raw sienna. Now, I love this for all kinds of things. This technique looks so pretty for florals, for grapes, for um, um, still life type paintings. I don't know, it just works. But it's also really pretty for this type of thing on a serving tray. Just tape it off and create single tiles, make it look like old ceramic or old stone tiles. It's a really nice look.
Probably turn the microphone up a bit.
Does he sound like he's in the bottom of a barrel?
Well, no, I had it at -2 decibels. That way,
Oh, okay.
it wasn't like
Super
redlining all the time.
Oh, okay.
For those wearing headphones, they might appreciate that. Can hardly hear Renee.
Yeah, he's muffled because he's away from the microphone. He's actually behind the microphone. So.
I am behind the scenes.
Yep. And most of the time he doesn't need a microphone.
I'm loud. I missed the beginning. Did you use Frescolina?
No, this is, I used Decor Media Texture Paste for this. A very thin application, light overlapping patches. And then I let it dry, and then I base coated it with 2 coats of light buttermilk. Now, the only reason that I used that was to get a nice consistent base color. So, love it. Ooh, that's pretty. And I think I'm right about where I want to be. Now this, look at all of that visual texture. Even though we've got barely any texture medium on there, it's very thin. Pardon me. And it's super thin. We're not using a ton of texture mediums.
Oh yeah, it really pops it out now.
Yeah, so now you can see all of that texture. So these darker areas that you see here, this is the canvas. This is the canvas area. These lighter areas here are the areas where the texture medium is. So, and then of course you get areas where I just didn't get enough moisture and enough paint. So I'm seeing some white patches, but that's okay because we're going to, I'm going to show you something really fun. Now, there's a couple of really great techniques that you can do over top of this. Image transfer looks fantastic over top of this, but stenciled relief looks fantastic with this as well because you can really make that stenciled dimension really stand up and look extra chunky even though it's not very thick. Again, super thin application. It's not chunky, not coarse, not rough. So visually it has great impact when all we really did was change the surface texture. That's how thin it is. So all of this in here, these little darker areas, that's the canvas. All of these lighter areas that you're seeing here, that's the texture medium. And look, I've got scratch marks in it from the palette knife. I've got ridges and lines, and it all works. It creates this really nice varied texture, and that's what we wanted.
How do you spray your paintings in the winter when it's too cold outside?
I have a garage. I gas everybody out of the garage.
Chemical warfare.
It's chemical warfare in my house. I go out to the garage. Nobody else can go in there for about half an hour.
Tracy, can we do this on wood or smoother surfaces?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're going to get a similar effect because this is going to have a different texture than that smooth surface. So you're going to have a different effect again, but you're still going to get all of those different layers, which is what creates the illusion of that. I love working on texture, on MDF and wood surfaces with texture mediums because you can really play with that change in textures.
You can layer.
You can
more
layer and
textures
layer
on
and
top.
layer. And the other bonus is that working on wood, it doesn't flex like canvas does, so you don't have to fight against the canvas. So I'm going to turn the hairdryer or my I don't know if Sandy still has these heat it tools in stock. Sandy, but if you do, gang, if you don't have one of these, you gotta get one. And I know that Sandy had them on her website. I love
Anita
them.
says, "Hello, Tracy."
Hello, Anita. Anita Moran.
No, Langy? Langhi?
Okay. Anita Lanchi or Lagel.
Nope, it's an I.
Okay.
Definitely an I.
Hello, Anita. Thanks for coming. I know everybody's still, cleaning up the
There's a
leftovers.
lot of new names in here.
This is a lot of fun. I love doing this thing. This is one of my favorite things. I love these old vintage world, these old world looks. I love that. So we're going to switch to a new color.
She's from Switzerland.
Switzerland, Schweiz. She's from Schweiz. So the color we're going to work with next is Asphaltum, which I know everybody's, big surprise. Asphaltum. I love this color. It looks like a brown. It's actually a transparent yellow. And it is without a doubt my favorite toning color. I'm going to turn my high-tech applicator inside out because I've blown it out, according like jail. I blew a hole in my applicator. So I've turned it inside out. Now we're going to age the outside edges of this using the same technique, but we're going to use a little less color because you want to keep this in control. So I have a small amount of asphaltum on there. What I love about the asphaltum on this is how it accentuates the textures. Those textures just pop. And it gives you that nice aged look. I'm using it very sparingly. Same application, very light touch. Not pressing hard at all. I'm using a really light touch. But look at how that edge pops right away. And of course, I have to put a little extra in the corners because that's just me. I love this color. It just gives everything that nice aged look. And it's subtle. Asphaltum, my favorite color. Actually, Bahama Blue is my favorite Americana color. Asphaltum is the one that I probably use the most.
Fresno, California.
Fresno.
People all over the world here.
Nice.
We got Switzerland, we got California, United States, Texas, Canada.
I would hope.
I would hope.
Yep. So I'm just using a little bit of that asphaltum. I love to age the edges a little bit. You notice that this is not drippy. It is wet, but it's not dripping. I don't want it that wet because then it just starts taking color off. There will get to a point where the surface becomes so saturated that you end up taking more off than you put on.
They're asking what size is the canvas.
This one is a 12 by 12, but quite honestly, you could do this on almost any size. So if you prefer to do it perhaps an 8 by 10 or a 10 by 10, you could do it on that. Just-
Idaho, Utah.
Wow. I know. Can't remember her name. From England there.
Sarah Wedley?
Yes.
Yeah. Sarah's doing all kinds of stuff for the MS Society over there.
Nice.
Are the shop towels different than Vivo?
Yes, they are. You can actually wash these and reuse them. Shop towels you usually find them in the hardware section, automotive section of your favorite
Walmart.
Walmart, Costco. I buy them at Costco because there's like 50 million of them in a box. But I think in the States you can get them there, and they're just white. They come in a box like a giant box of Kleenex.
How do you keep from getting a hard line between outer edge and center of canvas?
You know what? I think it's a very light touch and using a small amount. And I don't just use that point where the paint is. I keep that wet edge that's clean on my surface
Really spread it out.
so see how this is the dark part. I keep that at the edge. And then that wet side back here is what I use to blend out so I don't get that hard line. So I'm sort of killing two birds with one stone. So I put the color on, and then when I go back the other way, I use this. The pressure is on the back. So I got the color going on the point, and then when I blend, I go back the other way with the heel, and that's how I get that soft border. So there is our nice aged edge. I didn't go too dark because we still got some soft black that we can put on later on. We're going to put in a horizon line, and I'm going to show you how to put it in that.
Apparently Jessica Killer has been here the entire time, but just got her headphones working.
Hi, Jessica. Jessica painted the little chickadees from last week.
Oh yeah?
Put them on tag. Oh my God, are they ever cute? She did such a great job. Everybody's been painting those little chickadees. They're so cute, and they've done such nice work.
Did not know you could wash out these shop colors.
Yeah, you can literally throw them in the wash them out.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Wow.
Well, they have fiber in them. They're fabric in them. They're tougher than you think.
Oh, I know.
Yep. So yeah, you can wash them.
What I used in the bike shop.
Yep. So we're all dry. So now I need a piece of. So I'm gonna go back to the painter's tape. Now, I measured up 4 inches on either side. I have a little mark there and somewhere over here. I think I've buried it, but I've measured up 4 inches. I think my tape, where's my tape measure? Oops, not centimeters.
Malinois video.
So 4 inches.
There's a video of Malinois right on the front page.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Why do I think that's going uphill? Nope, it's okay.
I don't know. Why do you think that's going on?
I have no idea. It's just.
Who knows?
Let's measure again. Measure twice. Cut once. 4 inches.
Does the technique
inches
work
now?
on wood? Yes.
Yes, it does.
It does work on wood.
Works on almost anything. Okay, so I've taped that up. I measured up about 4 inches, and I have the edge of the tape at the 4-inch mark, the outside edge. So now we're going to put a shadow along the back there. We're going to create a tabletop, and we're going to do that with our high-tech applicator too. So here we go. So I'm going to get it wet, and I'm going to pick up a little of asphaltum. Again, just a small amount, not using a ton. And I'm going to run that color along the top of that tape, just like so.
Horizon line.
And then I'm going to darken that corner. Let it be a little lighter along there. But I'm going to deepen it a little bit in those corners. So now I've created a rectangle here. Now, if you want to, there's nothing to stop you from floating this in. So if you want to float that darker color around the outside edge because you don't feel comfortable using the method that I just showed you, go ahead. Whatever works for you. So I'll deepen that a little bit.
They're all loving the texture.
I love the texture. I haven't done this in a while. And somebody had mentioned the other day that they loved the piece that was hanging on the wall. So I thought, you know what? I haven't done that in ages. Let's do that. That'll be fun. So I've put that same asphaltum that I did around the outside edge. I'm doing that along that horizon line. And now I'm going to take that tape off. And we have a tabletop. Now, removing tape off of freshly painted surface. Don't just yank on it. Don't pull straight up. If you pull straight up, it increases the surface tension and you increase the chance of pulling your fresh paint and your fresh texture off your canvas. So fold your tape back, 45-degree angle.
And pull away from your paint.
And pull away from your surface, and et voila. Nice, crisp horizon line. Pretty snazzy, huh?
It works.
It works, and I've never had it fail me, so I'm going to dry that real quick. And now you're ready to start transferring stuff on. And I didn't want to transfer it on right away because I wanted to show you that this can be a little bit problematic. So I'm going to show you a couple little tricks to make it a little easier. First of all, we're tracing onto a canvas, it flexes. So you're already having to fight against something. So I'm going to line the top of this up with the top of the canvas, like so.
I don't think the acrylics would be good for the drain system or the washer.
Well, just rinse them out first. No, the acrylics aren't good for your washer.
No. Get most of it out.
Yeah. So I put that in place. Now I'm going to, this is a 12 by 12, so I've got about 10 inches underneath there that I can work with. And I'm going to grab an 8 by 10 panel. You can do this with magazines, stack up a couple of magazines underneath. I'm going to use an 8 by 10 panel and put it underneath my canvas. You just need something rigid to sit underneath there. So now I've got a nice hard surface underneath my canvas, so I'm not having to fight against the stretch in the canvas. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, if you at all possible, use a new sheet of graphite paper, or at least one that doesn't have a whole lot of use. I have one here that's relatively new. Because remember, at this point, we're working on fresh paint. And so graphite doesn't transfer really well to a wet surface. So we're going to put the graphite paper, remember, shiny side down. And I'm using my my red Uniball for this. And these letters are going to look rustic. There's really not much we can do about that because you're doing this over top of a textured surface. So I'm going to just freehand these letters. And I'm using a fair amount of pressure to get these to transfer. So I'm doing one letter and now I want to see, yes. Reason number one why I use that Uniball for tracing is look how fine those lines are. Super fine. They're going to be a lot easier to get rid of. And they're clear enough that I can see them well, so I think we're good to go. So nice even pressure. I like these red pens for this because you can see where you've been. Nothing worse than tracing something and wondering if you missed a spot somewhere. And now you are on a textured surface, so you're not going to have nice smooth lines. You are going to get some bobbles because the pen's going to want to follow the texture. And that's okay because we're going to be using a really loose, almost a watercolor technique to do this lettering. We're going to use very thin paint. It's going to be very watery. We want this lettering to be almost transparent. It's going to look distressed and old as if it's been there since time out of mind. So that is the reason why this lettering is not perfect, because we're working on a textured surface, and what would be the point? We were not going to get perfect lettering anyway, so we're going to make it work for us instead. So just transfer all your lettering on. And as I said, it's if you know, little bobbles and wobbles, don't worry too much about them in this particular case. By the time we're done, you will never see them anyway. Now, this is actually an old cafe sign for
Oop, Sheila had to
coffee
take
and
off.
fresh vegetables and fresh fruit, and that's one of the reasons I like it. It's an old French one.
Sheila had to take off.
Yep. She's got stuff to do.
She got things to do.
She's a busy lady. But she never fails to at least pop in, which is sweet. Same with my Miss Sandy. Miss Sandy's got to be in a pretty bad way, but she never misses. She at least pops in to say hi. Same with Miss Deb. Miss Deb is usually here too, but still early yet for her.
Oh, Paula Stout is wondering where you got your light pad.
My light tablet.
This thing.
That thing. This one actually I got from a Canadian site called 123 Inc. or Prime Cables. And this one was inexpensive. And it was, I think, under $40. These ones were really, really good. You can also find these on Amazon. I swear by these. I think they're absolutely fabulous for tracing your designs, for doing your drawings and whatnot. They're easy to work around. They're easy. They slip into a drawer. They're nice and thin. They're not in your face all the time. And they work off of a USB plug. They're fantastic. But you can find those, that light tablet, on Amazon. There's a variety of different ones. Some of them are really, really pricey. Others are very affordable. The only thing that I would suggest if you're going to get if you're going to get an inexpensive one, is make sure that it's got a good plug-in. They are the touch one, like that one is an inexpensive one, and it works like a hot damn. So it doesn't need to be the $600 light tablet. It can be that small one. So just find one. I don't go any less than an A4. Nothing smaller than an A4. And I think anything smaller than that, you're going to have more trouble than it's worth. But an A4 or larger is a good idea. Oops, somebody's sending me a question. Nope. So I love my little light tablet. I mean, I keep one on my painting station and I have one at my desk. The big one on my desk doesn't move so easily.
No.
Although it can move. I have an Artograph, a big light tablet, the bigger one, and I absolutely love it. And I found myself unplugging it, carting it over to my painting table because I'd be working here, and it just got to be a nuisance. So I thought I would try one of the smaller ones, and oh, it was awesome. So I keep one handy next to my painting station, and I use it here, and it's super light, super easy to work with. So, but on my desk, I have the great big Artograph, which I absolutely love. But it is an expensive model, but it is, to my mind, absolutely worth every penny.
And the whole penny.
And the whole
Whoa.
penny.
That's quite the link there, Sandy.
Oh, she found it online, did she?
Yeah. Well, mind you, I'm seeing the actual written out address line, so.
Yeah. But if you're in Canada looking for one, go to primecables.ca.
Prime camels.
Cables. Primecables.ca. And just search light tablet. Great Canadian company. I order a lot from them all the time. They are fantastic. Service is great. Products are solid. Really great. And it's quick shipping. Like, I have everything I order from them is usually here within 4 or 5 days. You know, it's fantastic. as long as it's available anyway. Only a couple of times I've had to wait for anything from them, so. But that was usually bigger items. Speaking of bigger items, I get my new toy today. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, you're so.
Remember a couple of weeks ago, everything that was electronic was giving me the gears. Computers weren't working properly, printers weren't working properly. I mean, everything just seemed to turn against me. Washing machine was on the fritz, and my stove went on the fritz. And even though we got the stove working right again, my husband said that due to its age, it was probably a good idea to think about replacing it. So I have a new stove being delivered today. And I have a new washer and dryer coming too, but they're going to be a bit longer yet. But
They're probably still in the boat.
I don't know where they are, but according to my shipping notification, it won't even ship until the 13th of December. So we shall see. So this is the time chewer right here, is this tracing part. But once it's done, it's done. It's easy peasy. Now there's a whole bunch of little hash lines and whatnot around this lettering. Draw those in. Just like that. Again, I'm not too worried about whether or not this lettering is perfect, because on this textured surface, it just isn't going to matter. So, and this is just fun. The fact that these letters are imperfect is part of its charm. So that's why I don't worry about it too much. But there is some fun little details in here. There should have been one of those there.
What's this? Karen noticed that the graphite paper doesn't go all the way to the right edge of the design.
Nope, I just move it over when I need to. I don't really worry about whether or not it all fits under there initially, because I can move it.
Does that mean you don't have to do laundry until the 14th?
No, I wish that was the case. I mean, I can still use the washing machine. We have to unplug it, hold the button down, count to 5, and then plug it back in, and then keep your fingers crossed that it starts. But it's been starting, but it's been taking more and more attempts to get it to start. So I'm kind of hoping it holds on until the 13th, or at least until, the 15th or so. So give it time to get here. But I get my new stove. I got does everything but wash the family dog new stove. So
And
I'm
Denise says, good morning.
excited. Who?
Denise.
Hi, Denise. Girls had busy. She's busy. Family, grandchildren. Miss you, niece. Wish I'd seen you this year, but we'll see you soon. One of these days soon.
Ordered a new dishwasher in June and it wasn't delivered until September.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying in general. Most appliances you order. See, I was thinking about that the other day. I've replaced my washer and dryer, replacing my stove, replaced my freezer so far this year, and replaced my printer. I think I'm done. I hope I'm done.
No more large appliances?
I think that's it. Oh, and the refrigerator. We replaced that last fall, so we broke everything. So
All the things are broken.
Well, you know what? We bought them all. Well, the fridge that we replaced was in this house, and I don't even know how old it was. So it was original to the house. So it was already old. So the fact that it hung on this long was impressive.
Oh, we fixed the door.
And then the new one, we had problems with the door, and then they ended up fixing the door. Of course, that would have been prevented had we read instructions.
We looked at the instructions.
Looked at is not read. But now the door is working fine. So
we looked at the instructions.
Looked at.
Yeah. Tomato.
Yep, tomato. Anyway, Fortunately for me, there's not a whole lot of assembly when it comes to this stove.
My draft button broke on Thanksgiving.
Draft button?
My draft button broke on Thanksgiving Day and only 2 burners work.
Oh no.
Oh, draft button. No.
Gas stove.
Gas stove.
Yeah. Oh, that would be sweet.
There's not even a natural gas line out here, is there?
No. We'd have to get propane and propane accessories. Not happening. The new stove has got air fry in it. It's a convection oven. A true convection with air fry
Oh.
and
Whose birthday?
multiple. Oh, somebody got a birthday?
Whose birthday? Where's birthday? Beverly. Beverly's birthday? Beverly. Happy 71st.
Happy birthday, Beverly.
And JL Brewer had hers on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness, how did we miss that?
I don't know. Because we weren't live on Tuesday.
Well, no, I usually see it on Facebook or whatever. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, so I'm almost there. This little bit in here.
It's an electric old downdraft range.
Oh my.
Okay, so it's not gas.
Yeah.
It's a downdraft range.
Wow. Yeah. I'm so excited about my new stove. I get excited about some strange things. I'm excited about an appliance.
You get excited about kitchen gadgets.
Kitchen gadgets. That's true, I do.
And anything that can cook an egg.
Yep. One, I love eggs. One of my favorite things is that somebody sent it to me. It was a skull.
Oh,
A
the
mold.
skull-
Yeah, to cook eggs. I love it. Yeah. I have gadgets to cook eggs. I love eggs.
I always wanted to try air frying.
Oh, my husband last year got me an air fryer for Christmas. He was a little reluctant, but he got me one for Christmas, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I absolutely loved it.
He air fried
Everything.
everything.
I had to figure out what I could do with this thing, so it was awesome. I love my air fryer. So when it came time to order my stove and I saw that it had an air fry feature on it, was like, I'm in. This is the one. This is the one. And it's got an extra burner. It's got 5 burners. I'm so excited.
What are the prizes today?
Prizes today. Oh, we have 3 sets of Dynasty Faux Squirrel wave brushes.
Yes.
There's also a Dynasty Faux Squirrel dagger striper in that set.
Ooh. What?
Yeah,
There's
dagger stripers in that set.
what? I'm putting my name in. I want a set of daggers.
So
Not the
yeah.
same daggers I'm thinking, are they?
No,
No.
these
Oh,
are
okay.
long handled daggers.
Gotcha. Not my pinstriping daggers.
I have one of those for you here.
I know.
Okay, just so you know.
I burnt through like
Oh, I
6 of them.
So I've got my lettering on, and this part is super easy. Super easy. So we're gonna grab a number 2 rigger, I'm thinking. Maybe not. I can't find one. Oh, there it is. Number 2 rigger and some asphaltum, and I'm going to use a little Joe Sonia's, but you can use water. It doesn't have to be Joe Sonia's. You can use some water. And you're going to thin that paint out a lot. We want this very thin. Very, very thin. And then we're going to start painting in that lettering. Now, the fun part about this is that it doesn't have to be perfect.
Do not look up daggers. Do not Google. Do not Google.
There's only one P in striper.
Yeah.
You're going to type in dagger striper. Make sure you put brush in there.
Yeah.
Vitally important.
Yeah. Do not Google.
Yeah, do not Google. Oh.
What?
Can you answer that? Never mind. It's the delivery company. Answer it.
Hello.
Thank you. Sorry, my phone was beeping. My delivery company is.
Hello.
So I'm just filling in that lettering.
30 minutes. Okay. Your stove will be here in 30 minutes.
Woohoo! So the nice part about this is that you don't really, because it's not a script lettering, that I'm usually doing, you can just use this brush to fill in this space. You don't have to work so hard with it. And we're using the paint really, really thin. So it's very watery. And we're just going to paint in all of those verticals and horizontals. And then once we have those in, we'll go back around and stroke in all of those other letters, or all of those little connecting lines that fill in that lettering. So you don't need to have this absolutely perfect. In fact, it looks better if it isn't. But the only thing I will say is take a little time to make sure they're at least straight and neat. But perfection, don't worry about that. So if the letters are a little wonky, if they're not, right to the edge, that's okay. If they're not all exactly the same color, that's okay too. Because that texture is going to affect how this lettering looks. So don't beat yourself up if the lettering is not, if this letter is darker than the next one. That's okay. Not a big deal. Really not a big deal. So I have it thinned out quite a bit. Let me show you just how thin I have it. It's very watery. Look, super watery. So it is going to be very transparent on this surface. But it is a lot of fun. And it's very forgiving because if you make a mistake, you just go back, put another coat on. Not a big deal. So, and I like that the lettering has that sort of vintage aged look, like it's been worn and weathered. And we're not going to erase any of the graphite. That's the other fun thing, because it's just going to disappear into this finish by the time we're done.
So what's the first thing you're cooking on your new stove?
Supper. I don't know.
Supper.
I have absolutely no idea. Haven't taken anything out yet.
Ooh.
So.
Oh, I don't want to work tonight.
He's working nights tonight. Miss Dot was out on her skis today, which is so funny.
She handled them pretty good.
Yep. Was watching, Dad was trying to take pictures of her. I was watching her leading him on a merry chase. That was cute. So super easy, nice light washes. That's essentially all you're doing, is just filling in that space with a wash of asphaltum.
Oh yeah, it's the weekend. You don't have to cook.
It's Saturday.
The question is, what are they cooking?
I don't know. And I didn't take anything out, and they didn't mention anything, so.
What brand of air fryer do you have?
Mine?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I'll have to check. I can't for the life of me. Right off the top of my head, couldn't tell you. It was an inexpensive one he bought. Was, $60 some. I think he paid for it at. I don't know where he got it.
Is Dot on Instagram with her skis? Yes.
Yes. Yes, she is. Dot the canine.
There was a video of her posted earlier this morning.
Yeah. So all you're going to do is just fill in that lettering, and it comes along pretty quickly. But again, I'm not worrying too much about whether or not this lettering is absolutely perfect. And this is actually, it's relaxing to do this because you don't have to worry. If it's imperfect, that's okay. Just fill in that space. Now, if you find that it's looking a little too dark, which is entirely possible, you can take, I'm just going to give that a second to dry. You can actually take a piece of damp shop towel and distress it a little bit. Just rub it with a little bit of water on it, and it'll pull some of the color off. Because you've thinned out this color so much, you can actually pull some of it off if you don't feel that it's thin enough, or if it's looking too hard edged, or if you're not happy with it. You can just literally erase some of that color. Look how fun that is. So I'm going to come back up here and just fix a couple of things. Just throw some dots in where there's supposed to be dots. But as I said, this lettering is intended to look rustic. It's intended to look worn and aged. So being absolutely perfect is of no consequence when it comes to this. I like this vintage look a lot. This worn, aged look. It's so pretty.
We're getting closer to that 5,000 goal.
How many do we need?
Like 56.
Oh, wow. So we're only 56 away from 5,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Almost there.
Almost there. That 5,000 mark is a big deal because it means that it opens up some other opportunities for us to expand the channel a little bit so that we can do more. And it means that that YouTube gives us a few more perks and abilities and access to some services that we don't have right now, which makes things easier for us. So I'm a little excited about that. I just realized I missed a letter at the end of this France, so I'm going to have to wing it.
Where do we subscribe?
If you're on, go to the YouTube channel and just hit the subscribe button. And then turn on your bell notifications. It'll let you know when we go live or when we post new videos. I had to wing it. And I think I winged it a little too much because there we go. The letter was almost solid. So I'm really liking how this is looking. We have the word Marseille. This is about the only one that we really have to take a little care with because it's a script. So, and I like this one because I get to show you a couple of techniques. So with the rigger, this is the one thing. This is why I use a rigger brush. Let me show you. When I press down on a rigger, it forms a square chisel edge, not a round chisel edge. And so I can paint just like a calligraphy pen. I can do script with it. And all that is just press down on the chisel edge, press down, open the brush up, and come back up onto the chisel edge. So you can do really nice script lettering with a rigger, even on a textured surface.
Oh, she didn't miss the leg on the M. It's just the lighting.
Yeah, it's just the lighting. It's there.
So could your Facebook watchers run over to YouTube and subscribe? It would be nice.
Yeah. We would appreciate it.
Don't forget the accent on the E in cafe.
It's there.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, I just haven't painted it in.
She'll get there.
I get there. I still got a whole bunch of like line work and things to do out there, so
There was one about the dagger brush there. Who makes it? Dynasty.
yeah, it's a Dynasty faux swirl. So I'm using the brush now on the chisel edge, that sharp chisel edge.
Do you know when you'll be getting more of the wooden snowflakes in?
I have a huge order coming.
Maybe.
Oh, they are. They're on their way.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So they will be here soon, probably this week. And we will post as soon as they're available. I love those snowflakes. And we are shipping right up until Christmas. I can't promise they'll get there before Christmas, but because we are seeing some delays across the board on everything. FedEx has delays and UPS has delays and Canada Post has delays. So unfortunately, there's very little I can do about that. I wish there was, but
Dale Brewer, I wonder if my bobs came in.
yes, your bobs are in.
There's not many left.
I think Jails is already shipped.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Right on.
So, not too bad. I'm going to move that panel out of there.
You make lettering look so.
Oh, it's lettering is intimidating for a lot of people. And for the most part, it's just like printing or filling in and painting anything else. I don't know. I think if you worry too much about it, it just gets harder.
Your goodie box should be there this week.
Oh, Karen.
Yep. There's cookies.
There's cookies. Ginger snaps, so I get the first one. Just saying. Karen, my girl Karen Jones. She might as well be my sister. We've known each other forever.
Yeah.
Been friends for over 30 years. She lives on the other side of the country now. And she makes, bar none, the best ginger snaps I've ever had. I have a good recipe, but I don't know.
And it's her recipe.
And it's her recipe, but mine don't ever taste as good as hers. I don't know why. And they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're good, but no.
Not as good.
Not as good. Hers are just something about the way she makes them. I don't know. They're yummy.
I'm pretty sure that meter just went up. Did it go up? We were at 4,944.
Yeah.
What does it say? It's too small on my screen.
I can't see it.
Well, this one's lagging behind for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's. What does it say? Did it go up? I think that it says 49.45.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm just using the chisel edge of that rigger to just loosely, and I'm using the term loosely, to just put in those lines. I am not worrying about getting them perfect, just as long as they're painted in. And you'll understand why in a minute, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do to this.
The ginger snaps are for your mom. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What happened? My microphone. I don't have a microphone.
Yeah, he doesn't have a microphone. He's behind the microphone today. So I'm just using that liner, or rigger, I should say. I'm loosely stroking in all of these details because I don't want this to be perfect. I want this to look weathered and worn. So I'm doing just that. I'm just loosely stroking that in. The nice part is because I've thinned it out with that glaze, I can go a long way without reloading that brush. Where did my lettering go? I get a feeling I missed a detail. Yeah, of course I did. Hello. There's a little curly Q that goes here that I missed. And there's another one over here that I missed. And there's a little one over here that I missed.
Renee, you have your own goodie box. I have my own goodie box?
Uh-oh.
What is the French saying on this project in English?
Café, légumes de remission de France, merci. Café and légumes, it means a cafe and vegetables. And remission de France is the name of the street that it's on, and Marseille is the area in France. Marseille is a beautiful spot. That's what that means. So as I said, I'm just loosely stroking in these details because they're just fun. And I'm going to distress this because I like things distressed.
Imagine how much stuff could have gotten damaged in them throwing them in the ravine. There must be a conversation that I missed in here.
Okay.
Feel sorry for the employees that had to go there and get them. Something about stoves. New ranges.
Oh, or it could be worse. You could be in BC where they just, fell off the boat and into the water. They had that ship that lost all its sea containers, or a bunch of their sea containers. So I'm just adding all of those little lines that you put in and around that lettering. I'm just stroking that in with the edge of the rigger. Again, not worried about whether or not they're perfect, because you'll understand why in just a minute.
JL asks, are all riggers long bristled?
Yes.
I have a really hard time controlling mine. It's a wiggle worm.
If it's a wiggle worm, a lot of that is simply where you're holding it. So hold it. If you're finding that it's not doing what you want to do, pull your fingers back up the brush a little bit and use your finger to balance it, and so that you can only work with the tip of the brush. But you need to get your fingers further up that brush. A lot of the time, if you're having trouble controlling it, it's because you're way down here. Come back here.
Oh, okay. A FedEx driver threw hundreds of packages in the ravine instead of delivering them in Georgia.
Oh my goodness.
Gotcha.
He must have been angry with his employer. Or angry with his customers. That's just not good. Either way, it's not good. Okay. So I'm almost there. I'm going to finish doing this. This is just super easy. Again, not freaking out over perfection here.
All the brushes she used are from Dynasty.
Yeah, I only use Dynasty brushes. You can find these on thebrushguys.com. I will have some probably in the next couple of weeks. I have them ordered. It's just like everything else, just
slow getting here.
Taking time for things to arrive. But yeah, we do have some ordered in a variety of sizes. Also stencil brushes ordered with a funky new handle. I'm so excited. And I've got fugly brushes coming. If anybody needs to get a fugly brush or needs a replacement, we'll have those in as well.
You got fired.
I would imagine.
I hope so.
He probably got arrested. Destroying property that didn't belong to him. So I'm...
They're Bob's?
Oh, Bob's. If you haven't been watching, or if you're new to us, this is Bob.
He's very special.
Yeah, short boss hockey helmet. Bob was part of a series of ornaments that we did last Christmas. Anyway, I I didn't realize that I had painted his buttons and his eyeballs white. And he looked kind of creepy to me. I thought he looked like a zombie, hence the zombie that you see up in the corner of the screen from time to time.
Yes.
Um,
You're
but
welcome.
he has just sort of become a bit of a mascot. And so now anything that's shaped like a gingerbread cookie is Bob. So we have little wooden gingerbread cookies on the website, and that's what we call them. We call them Bobs. But yeah, so that's, if you're wondering why, that's why. Bob.
We have to reintroduce Bob every once in a while.
I can't even begin to explain how he ended up being Bob, but Bob he is. Bob.
Bob the zombie cookie.
Yep, Bob the zombie cookie. And Bob has inspired a couple of other designs since then, so including one called Zombie Cookies.
Bob is always nearby.
Yeah, Bob is always within arm's reach. Sometimes he's in the screen, sometimes he's not. So, look at this, all done, almost done. So I'm gonna, in a second here, I'm gonna dry this, and there we go.
Size brush are you using?
I'm using a number 2. The ones that I use the most often are the number 2 and a 0. Those are the ones that I am most likely to use. There are a variety of sizes, but those are the ones that I use the most often. Okay, I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to distress this lettering a little bit, and then we can put our grapes on.
Are you gonna do it the cheating way? With the dauber, or?
No, I'll do it the right way. Well, not the right way. I'm gonna do it the other way.
Yeah.
These grapes are sort of oval in shape as opposed to round, and there we go. I do have a couple of different ways of painting grapes, as Renee pointed out. There's one of my favorites, actually. Sandy showed me how to do it, and I thought it was flippin' brilliant.
Just saying, I know how to spell. This expensive phone does not. All my words.
What is with iPhone lately?
I don't know.
Oh my God. I was trying to say something to Deb the other day, and I was typing and kept autocorrect was having way too much fun with it. So
turning all my to ducks.
Yep. It's turning all my into ducks. So I'm going to take another of my high-tech applicators, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of water, just water this time around. No glaze. So I've got just some water in there, and I'm going to just gently rub my lettering. And one of the first things you'll notice is it's starting to take some of the color off, and it distresses that. So go in a circular fashion, just like we put the color on, like that. I love how this looks. The lettering just takes on this really aged appearance. So all we're doing is taking a little of the color off of the high point of all of this lettering. And so it ages and distresses all of that brushwork that we just did. See how it knocked back and it wore through? So if we want to subdue that a little more, we can take a little of our base color, which is that raw sienna, and you can put a coat of the raw sienna back over top. Just a nice light coat. So if you happen to have worn through some of that base color, you can put it right back on. Just like that. So now it doesn't look so hard edged. It looks like it's been there forever. And by doing that, we also removed a lot of the graphite lines, or made them less noticeable. So, and I love how this looks, like this lettering. Look how it's worn through, and it looks just wonderfully old. And I'm going to take a little Asphaltum. I want to age my corners just a little bit more. Oops.
I hate autocorrect. It keeps adding weird words.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Turns all my blank to ducks.
Yep.
Making all my strong-worded
This
sentences
is
cute and cuddly.
almost strongly worded comments. So there, I would just went back in with a little asphaltum and aged that upper part a little bit more. I wanted to keep this fairly light because we've got grapes going in here, so there's a lot of color going to go in there. So I kept it fairly light. So I'm going to dry this. So now you know why I wasn't too worried about these being perfect, because we were going to distress it back anyway. Now you could sand it, but I find the sanding, it just eats through a lot of the color that you went to so much trouble to put on, and I really prefer not to do that. So
Has anyone downloaded Windows 11? No. I won't download Windows 11 until I know it's done.
So not bad. I think that works out really nicely.
It does. It's good.
So I have grapes, and we're going to trace and transfer our grapes on next. I'm going to take the excess off of here so that I can see. And I just noticed that I winged the stem on the grapes when I did them the first time, because that's me. So I want my grapes, the bottom of this leaf, I want it about an inch from inch and a half from the bottom. So I'm going to put it at a bit of an angle, like so, because I want those grapes to lay flat on the surface. And I'm going to tape that line drawing into place. Now this next part, I do what I call fast and dirty. So I'm going to slip my panel underneath my canvas again, so that I have a firm surface to work on. And I'm going to put my graphite paper in there, like so. Now this part's fast and dirty. Do I worry about the shape of my grapes? Not so much. So I'm just quickly tracing them in, like so. Neatness does not count for this. Don't torture yourself, because these grapes are going to change a lot. Easy peasy. And like I said, I don't worry too much about the overall shape. We're just getting grapes in.
I'm a Mac girl, mostly.
Love my Mac.
I do have PCs with Windows still on 8.1 because I refuse to do 10. I never did Windows 8 or 8.1. I went from Windows 7 to 10. And that's only because they stopped supporting security services for Windows 7. Pretty sad when the only reason I changed to Windows 10 was because my favorite one wasn't supported anymore. If I could, I'd go back to Vista.
I think if you could, you'd probably go back to Windows 98.
Yeah. It's still one of the best Windows out there.
So, as you can see, I am not wasting any time getting this sucker on there.
No, XP was the best. So.
That's true. XP was very good. I went to Windows 8 when it first came out and swore like a trucker every day until Windows 10 came out. In fact, it ticked me off so bad that I went and bought a Mac. So, and I've been a Mac girl ever since. I have everything Mac now. iPads and iPhones and 2 Macs in the studio. I love my Macs. So I winged the stem that's on this, so I'm going to wing it again, because it's just drawn in there. Now, there are 2 grapes out here, and all I'm going to do, you're going to think I'm nuts. I just moved my graphite paper over here, and I'm going to put 2 ovals together. That's it.
trying to find the cardinal pattern. Where is it?
It's on the website.
Should be one of the newest ones.
It's, if you go to the homepage, just scroll down a little bit and it'll say, it'll have a picture of it there. You'll be able to download it from there.
I can't even remember anything prior to Windows 10. What was it? I started with the Commodore 64.
Yep.
Then the Amiga
500.
500.
Yep.
And then from the Amiga, we went straight to a Windows 95 computer.
Yep.
And that was a Gateway.
Yep.
I believe.
No, it was a Dell.
No, Windows 95 was a Gateway.
Okay.
Dell wasn't around yet.
Ah, Gateway. Oh, right, the cow patches.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Then we went to Windows 98, which was, I believe, another Gateway. And then we went to the Compact Pisario.
Yep.
And then Dell came
Then
out.
was a Dell.
And then that was the computer to have.
Yeah.
At the time.
At the time. And I just retired a Dell just before I got the Mac.
Yep.
And now I've had a Mac for 7 years.
And now I build my own.
Now he builds his own, yeah.
Yeah.
So, base color for these grapes.
Actually, I've been building my own for years.
To be perfectly honest, you can use almost any red you want. You can use, I used country red.
A Mac Performa from 1990.
Oh my God. It's a pod. Really? Remember those? They were like a pod. They were cool. So I used country red for my grapes. I know they don't look country red. That's the trick. Right? Cranberry wine you can use. Country red, Tuscan red, any nice dark red, deep red you can use. Doesn't matter. It's just gonna make change the tone of your grapes. So I'm using a little bit of country red for mine. And
should be in the news section.
On the website, yeah, should be.
Trying to find the cardinal pattern. It's not in the news section.
No, it is not on the news section. Hang on a second.
Why is that?
Because it's a special thing. Okay. Okay, crap, where did I put it?
Uh-oh. Did you publish?
Did I hit publish? Yes, it's been selling for.
Oh, it's been selling.
Okay, so if you're on a computer, if you notice on the right-hand side, if you hit the shop button.
Sandy beat you to it.
Okay, see? I don't know why I bothered.
Sandy's
I can't find anything on my website. Let Sandy do it. She'll find it.
Sandy just put out the link.
Yeah, bazooga.
Oh, there you go.
Bang zoom.
See? And she did it on Facebook too.
Of course she did. So all of your grapes are going to get based with this red. All of them.
Because Sandy's awesome.
Sandy is awesome. So.
Let me guess, was that Sandy?
Yeah, she's laughing at me. So you're going to base coat these grapes with that red. Another thing, because I've got that traced on, they're not going to be fully opaque. That's okay. It really is. It's okay, because we're going to put 3 other colors over top of this red. So, why beat yourself up over it? And why fiddle with it, to be perfectly honest. So I'm just base coating all of my grapes, comme ça, with that red. You guys wonder why I paint so fast, or how I paint so fast? This is why. I don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about little odds and sods. These grapes are all red. I'm going to change how they look with other colors. So I really don't putz and worry too much about the base coat, making sure that it's fully opaque, because I'm usually putting 3 or 4 other colors over top of it. So it isn't necessary to knock yourself out trying to get these colors in.
I don't know if that.
Grapes. He's gonna go check, see if my stove is here. Love this red. This is such, I love the way the red pops out on top of this. I know when you're looking at this this red over top of all of this golden color, you're thinking, how is that going to end up looking like dark plum? Well, it will. Because we're going to be using some soft black, we're going to be using black, we're going to be using some asphaltum. So all of these colors are going to change, and quite a bit as we go. So, and I love how this red just comes screaming off of this yellow, that raw sienna. There we go. And remember, we've got 2 grapes over here. Just 2 little ovals, basically. Like that. And there we go. So I have grapes base coated, and the leaves are all going to be antique green. And I have a really, again, I'm not going to putz too much with this antique green. I'm just going to get that color in. If I can get it out of the bottle. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I need a new bottle of antique green. This one is icky. So here's my antique green. I love this green. This is my favorite green. I love this color. And my trick when it comes to painting these is I paint in the shape of the leaf. So I follow the shape of the leaf when I fill it in. So I'm not looking for an absolutely perfect base coat either for this.
Stove's here.
Yay! Now there's some little holes where these leaves, grape leaves are never perfect. So there's some little spaces here. We're going to fill that in with a little asphaltum to give us that nice dark shadow. And so I'm pulling my color that follows the shape and the curve of that leaf.
They renamed Sandy.
Did they?
Yeah. Her
What
name is now Hot Sandy.
Hot Sandy. Well, did you see her new profile pic? She's gorgeous. She's rocking some gray. She looks really good. She says she's only rocking it for a little while and she's going to go get it. She's not ready to go gray yet. Doesn't matter. She's beautiful. Our Sandy is beautiful. Inside note. Some love in this green. On camera, it looks a little different. Doesn't look quite as green.
And it looks muddy.
It looks a little brownish, but it is quite green. I
Well,
love
there's
antique
a lot of
green.
red hitting that sensor right now. So.
Yeah, because of the grapes. So no great surprise. That's a lot of red. So I'm loving the green. Yeah, Sandy posted a new profile pic. There's a lot of cat calls. She looks great. I still can't get over how blue my hair is. I gotta stop using that shampoo.
It's so gray it's blue.
Oh. Well, I think if I can get into a hairdresser in the next few weeks, I might just have them make it all gray. Just make it white. I don't care. I've hit that point. Just, make it all one color. White. I have nice bright white hair.
You gonna look like one of the Golden Girls.
No, not with those new glasses. I might look like Elton John.
You're gonna look like Mom from Golden Girls.
Nope, different type of glasses. I'll be rocking some fun glasses. I'm excited about those. Tommy Hilfiger.
So, I kind of caught half of that conversation out there. Archie hurt his back.
Oh no.
So Archie is drugged up right now, and
Aw, poor baby.
but he wants to play. He wants to go outside. He wants
Oh
to.
gee, we know that only too well.
Yeah. So, poor Archie is.
Archie is our neighbor's retriever. And he's still more of a puppy than anything. He's not very old. Poor little fella's had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Allergies and whatnot. He's adorable and he's so goofy and he's just a sweetheart.
All I can picture is that TikTok of the pit bull standing there.
Yeah.
The $50 dog got at the shelter.
Yeah.
And then it pans over to this $5,000 purebred French
Yeah.
terrier, and pit bull says, "I will grow under any conditions. I will eat garbage."
Yeah.
And then it pans over to the terrier. "I think I'm allergic to tap water."
Yeah. Archie is a sweetie though. He's a golden retriever, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart.
He smiles when he comes to say hi.
Well, he smiles, period. He's just adorable. And he's so goofy, and him and Dot get on like a house on fire, so he's cute.
Yes.
But poor Archie's had his fair share of health issues.
Yeah, yes.
So I've got that in. Again, I'm not worrying about it being absolutely perfect
I
because
skipped gray one straight to white.
I would like to skip this battleship look. I can't quite.
No, it should be camouflaged in a marine environment.
Wow. My son is tired of living.
I'm saying the benefits. There's benefits.
Being able to hide in a shipyard is not exactly what I call a benefit.
Hey, if you gotta get away from the cops, choices.
Okay.
Cody
We're a little
decided
inland.
my hair color for me.
Oh, yeah. Yep. At the beginning of the pandemic, I had stopped putting the red in my hair because it was getting harder and harder to keep the red in my hair. Just one of the downsides to being a strawberry blonde. It kind of, you don't exactly go gray nicely. So my hairdresser said, we'll start coloring your hair with streaks of blonde so the gray is less noticeable, and then we can just gradually stop streaking your hair. Then the pandemic hit. So much for gradual. So as the color was coming out and growing out, I just let it go and didn't bother coloring it anymore. So I tried to do it myself a couple of times. I thought, you know what? No, it's just not, it's too freaking much work. So then I ended up buying this handy dandy shampoo that kind of takes that brassiness out of your hair. That sort of, it kind of looks stained, especially when it's turning white. It gets this, I don't know. I didn't like it. So I started using this purple shampoo to do that. Now I've got blue hair, which is bugging the hell out of me. So I'm not real keen on the blue thing, but I can actually tolerate the gray. I don't mind the gray.
Gray is just glitter.
Well, right now it's not glitter. Right now I kind of look like, like I'm wearing a helmet, but I'm okay with that. I'll find a hairdresser that will.
That's why I brought the saturation.
Because it's really blue. It's either that or I go and have it all dyed blue.
The purple shampoo takes out the yellow.
Yeah, it takes the brassiness, the yellowness out of it. So, yep. So I'm rather happy with that. It's working for me, I think. Okay, so I've got my base coat in. I'm going to dry this real quick. And then we can start painting grapes. Now, when I'm painting grapes, I usually paint the ones that are in the deepest first. So the ones that are back in here, in that background, those are the ones we're going to tackle first. So we're going to do that with all of our shading. And then the last thing we're going to paint is those leaves. So I'm going to grab me some soft black. And you'll be surprised how quickly these grapes take shape. So the color I'm using is soft black. It's a good idea to have some lamp black back too, because you're going to need that for some really dark and crisp looking shadows. But we're going to start with that soft black. And I'm going to grab, I'm thinking I'm going to use, I'm going to use a faux squirrel. I'm going to use, this is a 1/2 inch faux squirrel angled shader. This is my favorite brushes for this type of stuff because they hold a ton of paint. Lots of water, lots of paint. And they've got a nice body to them. So I'm going to load this brush up to float. We're going to start with those darker grapes in that background there. We're going to float a little of that color in. Oh, so it's added again. So there is a nice shadow in there. I'm going to do the same. This is just our first shadow, our first shading, so don't worry about it being too perfect. This is where we get all of those grapes that are tucked in the back and in the bottom.
We're in a storm there, kitten.
So there, we're going to put that shadow in behind. So you can see that those grapes start to change almost immediately. And I'm going to shade in there. And then I'm going to start shading underneath those leaves. Now this is just the first float of that soft black. And we're going to start separating these grapes. I love how these colors, these grapes change when you start putting in these floats. How that red suddenly changes to shades of purple with that on there. So get in there. Don't worry if you get that color out over the edges of that onto the next grape. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Because this is, as I said, this is our first shading. This is only going to define the depth and the shape of some of these grapes. And we're going to start separating like so. But look at how those grapes change right away. I love soft black on red. It's just, if you brush out soft black on your palette, it has almost a deep, dark, plummy tone. So it already has a little bit of red in it. So it gives you this really nice, rich plum tone on your grapes. So I need to separate these two. So this is our first shading. And so now we've got grapes really starting to take shape. So they're going to look a little bit rough for a bit. That's okay. You're working on a textured surface. It's going to take a little time for you to build up the shape. So I'm going to come in and shade underneath those leaves one more time and separate those grapes yet again. Remember that float, let it come out, cover the grape. Remember those ones that are the farthest back, they get that same float. Remember that, look at that. See how quickly those grapes start to take shape? This one, this forward one here is going to get a shadow along the bottom, like so, because it's the furthest away from that. But it changes the look of that grape right away. Make sure you get up underneath that leaf with that shadow. And separate. So I've got two floats on most of these now. There's that forward one. Grapes are just yummy. And I love how these just, every time you put a shadow on, it gets a little bit deeper. They take more and more shape. They get richer and richer. And I'm just reload it. I'm going to dry this real quick. And I'm going to go back in, and this is our third float. We're going to do this a third time, just so that we get nice, deep, dark shadows in and around underneath. I have thinned out my paint quite a bit, so I don't want this like super heavy application in there. Don't worry too much about getting that, you know, those perfect shadows, because at this point, it doesn't matter. All we're doing is just setting the tone. The next step, we're going to use a little bit of lamp black, and this is where you're really going to see all of those shapes just become a lot more clean and a lot more sharp. And you're going to see a lot more definition on the next one. Even though this is starting to get there, those grapes are starting to look more and more like grapes. I want to come down here and deepen that shadow on the back side of that grape and deepen this shadow right there. Love this. I love painting grapes. It's like pears. They're sort of a reset button. That's how I've always looked at them. Whenever you find that you're, you know, perhaps some of your skills are deteriorating a little bit, just hit the reset button and go back to painting some simple shapes. As in this case, we're using grapes, but pears are a good one, apples are a good one. It helps you reestablish some of those skills for painting shapes to give them dimension. So I'm going to grab my rigger and a little bit of soft black because I want to deepen this. Ugh, too much water in my brush. There we go. So I wanted to deepen that shadow in there a little bit. Put a little soft black in there. That's that little spot that separates, it's underneath those leaves. Right there. Just easier to put it in now. Now I'm going to dry this. And now we're going to switch to lamp black. This is where all of your shadows become very, very sharp and crisp, and those grapes become more and more defined. So I'm going to switch to a different angle. I'm going to switch over to a black gold because I want the really sharp edge. Though the Faux Squirrel's a beautiful brush, I want a super sharp edge on this next one. And I think I'm actually going to change the size. I'm going to go to a 3/8 instead of the 1/2 inch. Give me a little more control in those small spaces. So the thing I love about those black gold brushes is that super sharp chisel edge. Love that, especially for things like this where we want nice sharp clean floats. That's why I love those black gold. So I switch back and forth between my Faux Squirrel and my black gold all the time. So I'm going to load this brush with some lamp black, and we're going to get rid of that panel again. We're going to really deepen some of these shadows right here, but these ones are going to be super sharp. This is where I take a little more time. I want super sharp shadows, good solid definition on these grapes. Remember those grapes that are in the background there. I want nice sharp shadows in there. So I have lamp black on the toe of the brush. I've blended it out to float so that I have a nice sharp, clearly defined shadow on these grapes. And right away you can see the difference that makes, that little bit of lamp black. It is a smaller float, it's narrower this way than the soft black was, but it is, I'm really paying attention to the edges of those grapes. I want nice, sharp, clear delineation so that I know where each of those grapes are. And this is what makes them all come out nice and clean so that you get nice, well-defined grapes. Just like that. Easy peasy. So now we have nice sharp definition. We can see all of those grapes have been well separated. I don't know if you can hear it. They're moving that new stove around upstairs. And I'm going to put a nice sharp shadow underneath here so that I got good definition under that leaf. We're going to clean that up too, so you don't have to be too worried about it. So now I'm going to come back to my faux squirrel angle for a second because I'm going to pick up a little asphaltum. And this is where I tone everything. I'm going to put a wash of asphaltum over top of all of it.
Turn off the oven circuit board.
Oh,
Watch your new oven.
so I'm just putting a wash of asphaltum over it. All that's going to do is tone that red down a little bit. And then I'm going to let it dry.
Kitchen stove. That's the one.
That would be the one. Boo! That would not be good.
No.
Yeah.
Did
So-
I hear Renee come back? Yes, you did.
Yep, he's been sort of running in and out because they're installing that stove upstairs. So.
Yeah, well, he has to flip the outlet now, so.
So there we go. We've got all of our shadows in. These are all nice and dark in here, those ones that are back in the distance. You can adjust those as you go. So now we're going to start putting some of the shadows in underneath these grapes. And I'm doing that with a little bit of soft black. And I've thinned it out a little bit. I've got a little bit of glaze in there.
I love grapes in their liquid form.
Oh, I'm with you. They're so much better in liquid form.
Yeah, grape juice, right?
I don't like them in pill form.
Pill form?
Oh, that's what grapes are. Wine in pill form.
You'd eat a lot of those.
Yep. So I'm just putting a little shadow in here. You can take a little of that soft black in there too. It's not going to hurt. And it's loose. Don't worry about getting it perfect. There's no point. I'm doing the same thing in here. In and around our grapes. It's a little thinned. I've thinned it out a little bit because I want some control over it. Just like so. And don't forget, we get these two little grapes over here have got a shadow as well. And so I'm just going to do it this way. Comme ça. Now you can keep coming back in here and deepening these shadows as you go. So don't be afraid to tuck a little color in there. If you feel it's not working the way you want it to, just throw a little extra in. It's not going to hurt. Now, there is going to be a shadow of this leaf, like a cast shadow. So I've loaded my brush and I'm following the shape of the leaf with it like this. And then I'm going to shade in underneath it. I haven't done anything with these leaves yet, so I'm not worrying too much if I go up over the edges because I'm going to cover most of that up anyhow. So I'm not too worried about it. But I want to get a shadow in there. Like so. And this is just our first shadow, so it's nothing major. And then we're going to freehand in that stem that's on our grape. It's not in the line drawing, but it's just a loose stem, nothing too elaborate. Just like that. I'm just using a little bit of asphaltum just to put in a stem. So we've got all of our shading on our grapes. So now we got to talk about getting some shading into that leaf. I use a chisel blending technique for painting leaves like this because it creates a little texture at the edges and it's fast and easy. And then you don't have to putz with it too much. But I'm going to start with these shaded leaves down here. And I'm going to grab a little bit of plantation pine. I'm going to throw a little bit of that on my palette. And we're going to start by shading in and around those grapes with a little plantation pine. And I want these to be nice and dark in there. So I'm using that color almost full strength. And I'm taking it right up to the edges of those grapes, like so.
Stop walking across the keyboard. Stop. Stop it. God. You're a brat.
That would be Miss Soot. I sometimes think we've been blessed with the most obnoxious pets.
She doesn't want to go upstairs.
No.
Go ahead, get in the bathroom. Don't you dare.
She wants your chair. She's a happy kitty, though. More or less. So I've put nice dark shadow underneath those grapes using that plantation pine. I'm going to come back in with a little of the antique green. And I'll probably use, I wanted this nice and dark because these grapes are sitting on top of this leaf. So I wanted it nice and dark.
Somebody asked if she's Siamese.
She sounds Siamese. She's part Siamese. She's, I don't know. She is a mongrel, but yeah, she jiggled the camera.
No.
And she's a brat. She is a brat. So I'm going to grab a little antique green. Hello, I have some right here. So I have a little antique green. I'm going to put a little plantation pine on the heel of the brush, plantation pine on the toe of the brush, and I'm going to blend those two colors together. And this is a chisel blend. You're going to stand, see you've got the two colors in the brush. You're going to stand the brush up on its chisel edge and you're just going to tap and pull. So I'm pulling from the edge back towards that shadow, hence the reason we have the plantation pine on the heel, because it's already sitting in there. So I'm just pulling a little of that color back.
Hey.
And all this does is create a little texture at the edge of the leaf.
She moved it right good.
Did she? If you're wondering what happened to the camera, that was Soot. Oh yeah, camera just went nuts. Soot. She's such a brat. So this is also where you get to clean up those little areas where, you know, maybe you went over the leaf a little bit. That's okay. I like the texture that this creates. It gives that leaf. It doesn't look so perfectly smooth, right?
That's exactly what she wanted.
She wanted your chair.
She wanted the chair.
And now she has the chair.
And now you're a floof loaf.
She's a floof.
She's got her paws tucked and everything. She's not moving.
I don't know why you're surprised. She's a brat. So I'm switching over to a little bit of matcha green. I just want a touch of it on the tip of my brush, not a ton. This is our highlight color, so we're going to put a little bit of highlight at the edge of that leaf and just a little texture. I'm not being perfect with it. I'm just bringing a little light to the edge of those pointed bits of the leaf. You can just float this in too if you don't want to chisel blend. You can just float it in. Oh my gosh, Soot. She's so bad. She's very talkative today for some reason. I mean, she's talkative every day, but she's more so than usual
Stay
today.
away from the camera.
Isn't she the director?
She likes to think she is.
Bossy little kitty.
No, she is. She is quite the little diva. So I've got nice little highlight in the edge of my leaf. I'm going to dry it. Gives it a nice little texture. Nothing too fancy. It's just texture. I don't worry too much about it. Something I do like to do with leaves is to take a little of that base color. I like to pull a little of that base color onto the edge of the leaves, just a little bit of reflected color. And it's just a little float, and I only put it in a couple of places. So just, it helps define the edge of the leaf nicely, and it pulls the color around the piece.
I'm gonna switch cameras here.
Did we lose sound again?
No.
Oh, why?
That's it.
Oh, Soot. And she's deaf, by the way. You have to touch her to get her attention.
That's missed it. Don't you dare come towards this computer.
You're a brat.
Switching back.
There.
Soot wants her own YouTube channel.
Ugh.
All you have to do is search in YouTube Sylvester the cat. That's Soot.
Yeah. She's a little bit of a diva. She's a brat. So I'm going to come up here and finish out these leaves. We're going to start with a float of plantation pine. And we're going to go right down the center of that leaf. Remember that little point here? And then I'm going to come this way. So that, as I call it, looks like a palm tree. If you're looking at it this way, it's kind of like a palm tree. So that is the center veins in those leaves. I don't putz with these too much because you can make them darker or lighter as we go, but we're going to do quite a bit to these leaves here in the next little bit. So we're going to start with that shading. That just creates those center veins in the leaf. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did with this leaf. We're going to use a little antique green and a little bit of that matcha green or olive green or margarita green. Any one of those greens will work just fine for this. So I'm standing my brush on the chisel edge and I'm tapping and pulling back, and I'm always aiming the heel of this brush back towards the center of that leaf. So that little tap, I like putting little lines like this. So like in little groups of 3 work really nicely. And just remember the curve of that leaf. Always coming back towards that center vein, right? It's going to look a little rough for a bit. That's okay. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. So little groups, little clusters, always aiming the heel back towards that center vein, like so. And I'm doing that all the way around this leaf. I like that little highlight. It actually gives the leaf a little more texture. So it doesn't look like a perfectly smooth leaf, right? And it helps make this look a little bit more realistic. I don't worry if I go up over that shadow because we're going to deepen it anyway. So you can see we've got nice texture happening there. I'm going to touch this up because I'm not real thrilled with this over here. So I'm going to go back in. Oh, that's much better. There we are. Sometimes you just got to do it again. There we go. I'm happier. And I'm going to do the same thing on this. Now, when there's a spot there like this, just go with the curve. It's all good. If you find that the brush you're using is, making more of a mess than you want, or if it's not giving you the texture you want, change the size of the brush. I'm using a 1/2 inch, and I'm thinking I should have gone with the 3/8, but that's okay. 3/8 is going to give me the same texture. It's just not going to take up as much space. This one has taken up a little bit of space. And I like, if you've noticed, when you tap and pull like that, see, you get these neat stria, these lines, and it just creates a little more texture. So then we're going to take that same color. We want to create a highlight right here. And I'm going to do that with that same technique, but I'm going to go backwards, back towards the outside edge. So my brightest color is right on that line, and I'm going to tap and pull again, like those little groups of 3s or 4s, but I'm bringing that heel is aiming back towards the edge of the leaf. So it's following the same line that I did the first time, just backwards. So you can see that it's creating the stria that match the edge of the leaf. Now, when you get to this point, because this is going to be a high point, you just start turning it a little bit. So now it's going to follow. I need a little more paint. Now it's going to follow that shape again. But as I turn the brush, look what happens. It's following again, coming out. Heel is aiming towards the outside edge of that leaf. So I have a nice little highlight on that line, and it comes back and creates nice texture. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Heel towards that outside edge so that it all lines up. So if the leaf curves, so does your stroke. Love it. So it creates some nice texture on that leaf. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one. I'm coming in here. Nice little short strokes back towards, I'm curving it the same way the leaf curls. There's that fun little highlight in there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Now it looks kind of messy, but I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to go back in with our plantation pine, and this is going to clean up a whole bunch of little baubles. I've got lots of water in my brush, a little bit of plantation pine, and now we're going to deepen all of those shadows. And watch what happens to that muddy line. Just gets nice and clean.
Crush Van Gogh.
And then right back up that center vein. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to dry that, and then we're going to add a fun little highlight to this leaf. I'm going to use a little bit of now ordinarily I would get into my fluid acrylics. Maybe that's what I should do. I'm going to grab a little bit of green gold. I need a nice transparent yellow green for this. I like how this looks. So I'm going to pop that leaf a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of that green gold. It's a very vibrant green, and I'm going to float right over my highlights. Look at that. Ooh, love it. I like that little pop of color. So wherever I had a highlight, I'm just putting a nice little float along the edge of the leaf. Look at how brilliant that is. Just, ooh, love it. I love that zing of color. I was talking with Sandy the other day. We were discussing the Deckwork fluid acrylics. Now that they've started manufacturing them again, they're easier to get, I should say. I know Sandy has lots in stock, so if you're interested in getting some of them, just go to her website and send her a quick email. I don't think she has them all up on her site yet. So if you're interested in the fluid acrylics, just send her a quick message, and I know she'll be really happy to help you. But we were discussing which would be the best colors to start out with. Because I mix color, I'm a big proponent of using primaries. So for me, the primary red, the primary magenta, get a nice blue. I'm a big fan of the cobalt teal hue, which is sort of the turquoise color. I love that tone. It's just beautiful. And these all work with your fluid or your regular acrylics too, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So just a little wash of that. Look at how pretty this is. A little wash of that, that green gold over top of that leaf, and it's just, oh, so vibrant. You get that nice pop of color. I love that. So I'm going to dry that real quick. And then we're going to bring that same red that we had in those grapes, we're going to bring some of that red up onto that leaf. I love how that looks. It gives it a nice tone. And anytime you want to tone down a green, throw a little red in it. You want to take some of the heat out of a red, throw a little green in it. So I've got a little bit of the red from those grapes. I'm going to pull a little in. I'm going to come in from the edge of the leaf a little. And I've thinned this color out quite a bit. And I'm just going to pull a little of that red at the edge of those leaves. Little reflected color. I'm also going to pull a little bit into that center vein, just because I love that little pop in there. And anytime you do this bit of reflected color, I like to keep it out towards either in the center vein where it's over top of that darker value, or to bring a little out to the edge of the leaf. I love how it looks. So we've got a little pop of reflected color out there, like so. I love that.
Oh, I do have a question. Linda Safranco, she's actually really curious. Which one of the hot chocolate pieces are you doing on Wednesday?
We are doing the hot chocolate and cookies. Hot chocolate? Bunny leaves.
You're doing...
Jeez. Crash bang. This is the one we're doing on Wednesday. Yeah.
With the bob.
With the bob. We're doing the one with the bob. The reason I chose this one is because it has everything from all three patterns. So there's, we've done the icing on the cookies, and then, so it has a little bit of everything. So that's the reason I chose this one. So we have lots of fun stuff to do on this piece.
Gotta run an ignored company long enough. Love the fluid acrylics. Yeah, I love the fluid acrylics for highlights and popping color.
Oh yeah, there's just nothing else like it. I absolutely love them. So now that we've got our leaves in, now it's time to start really finishing off these grapes, and this goes fairly quickly. So we're going to start with a base highlight. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of the light buttermilk. Remember, we used that on the base coat over top of the texture. So I'm going to use a little bit of, left it open too long. Hello.
Bam.
Oh, that didn't help. But that might help. Okay, there we go. So I'm just taking a little bit of light buttermilk. I chose this because it's got a little bit of yellow in it, so it's a warm tone, and I'm thinning it out. I'm not using it full strength, and we're going to put some highlights on this. Now I'm bringing my highlight in just a little from the edge. I don't want this to cover the whole thing, so I'm coming in just a little. Oops. A little too much. In from the edge, I want a little bit of that red showing.
What do we have to do to be ready for Wednesday?
Base coat, I'll post it in the group what your prep is, but all you really need to do is base coat your surface black, transfer your pattern on, and base coat your cup.
Oh,
That's it. That's all you need to do.
is it gingerbread man?
Nope, because we got stuff to do to that cup first before they do that. So I'm just, all of those berries, grapes. Geez, what's with me and the bunny leaves today? Woohoo. Hello. So I'm just, again, that little float of light buttermilk. Leave a little space from the edge, like so. And I gotta fix this grape. I'm not thrilled with it. There we go. There we go. So I've got just a simple highlight, and it is just a float, very heavily thinned, light buttermilk. So I'm going to dry that. And then I'm going to grab my point blender. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. A little bit. If I can find one. There we go. Point blender. I love these. I was also going to tell you, we got all of those, the big tags came in, the jumbo tags came in, the sleds came in, and the bobs came in. So we have all of that in stock now. So we're going to put a dry brushed highlight on, and I'm going to use a little bit of warm white for this. And I'm going to load, you want a dry brush, so I got a little bit of warm white in my point blender.
You're just thinking about your new stuff.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Probably. So I'm just putting a dry brush on my grape, and I'm focusing where that float was, just keeping it really light.
Had the leaves came back, and wow, these leaves are gorgeous.
So I'm just using a really dry brush to put that highlight in. And I like doing them in stages. I don't like getting them all done in one go.
I didn't see Deb. I don't think Deb's popped in yet. Is Deb Antonick in there?
I haven't seen her.
I've been out helping with the stove.
So I've got a grape here that's gone wonky. And I need to fix it because it's bugging me. You see, this one is not round. It's not hasn't got a nice curve to it. So I'm going to take my 3/8 angle.
She's here with her coffee.
Oh, good. And I'm going to float up to the edge of that leaf again. Or grape. Wow.
Do you wash your point blender with water?
Yes, I do. A little bit of brush cleaner to take any dry paint out.
How do you enlarge the pattern to fit the surface?
You don't need to enlarge it. It's actual size. It's just on 8.5 by 11, so no, you don't have to enlarge it.
Bunny grapes.
Bunny grapes. So I'm just deepening that shadow in and around that grape because it needed to clean up an edge. It had a wonky little bit. I didn't like it. So it had to go. So the nice part is that if at any time you need to adjust a shadow, adjust a shape, it's an easy fix. Just take whatever color you shaded with and clean it up. Oh my goodness, my tummy is talking. So I'm going to come back in and pick up a little of that warm white. Little warm white on my brush, and I'm going to make a smaller. My brush got wet. Oops, my brush got wet. It's not a good thing for a dry brush. Dry brush should never get wet. Okay, so I'm going to make a smaller highlight. Impact point. Nope, my brush is wet. Gotta go get another one. This one's wet. It's not the same size, but it'll do. Okay, let's try this again.
Just having a day.
Oh, you know, it happens. So I'm keeping my light impact point out towards the ends on this, and I need a little brighter highlight. And I'm making this one just a little smaller. And then you're going to take a small round or a rigger, or I would say a small round. Small round will work better. And you're going to take a small amount of that. Oops, not that one.
Not that one?
No. What the heck is this?
Waiting for the onslaught of rain and doing just wonderful. Thank you for asking.
There's more rain going to the BC coast today.
It's BC.
Yeah.
It rains.
Yeah, but they've been getting some severe storms.
Yeah.
And we're having a snow day, Miss Deb.
Oh. The coast of BC rains.
Yeah, this is the valley. So for the final highlight on these grapes, it's just a little. Let's try that again, Trace. It's just a little dab. We don't want a ton.
Little dab will do ya.
On there. And it's just a little stroke of white. Nothing neat and tidy, but it has to be at the high point of that highlight. So the brush could be almost dry and I think you'd be fine. The nice part is that if you find it's too bright, you can just smudge it. That's what fingers are for, smudging. So all of those ones that were tucked in and around there, they don't need that. So they can get just a dry brush of that little bit of warm white in there. Just a light highlight, nothing too major. Just enough that they're, you know, popping forward, that they haven't been completely ignored. The ones that are actually getting struck by the light are the ones that get that little stroke on top. Now you can come back in and soften that if you find that they're a little too harsh. You can just put an additional little light dry brush over top to soften them up.
She was wondering if you had to enlarge line drawing for hot chocolate.
No, for hot chocolate, printed on 8.5 by 14. It's printed on legal size paper.
Yeah.
If you print it on a legal size, it will fit the surface. Dot's on the move.
Thud.
Now, something I like doing is just taking a little bit of asphaltum. This kind of grounds things to the background. It tones things so they don't look quite so bright. So I've got a little bit of thinned asphaltum.
I love the Tracy Monroe mop. You should patent it.
Yeah. That's my mop. So there is that little bit of asphaltum. This just sort of helps ground things to the background so they don't look so bright. They come screaming off of there. So now we have to do something about this background back here. These grapes struck by light, these leaves struck by light, but this background needs to be struck by light too. So we need to pull a little bit of color in. I'm going to just deepen these shadows a bit. Again, I'm just deepening with a little bit of Asphaltum because that's my go-to color. It's just a neat, nice way to subdue things without making them too dark. So there is my little bit of Asphaltum. So now we need a highlight back here. I'm going to grab a little bit of our base color, which is that light buttermilk. And we're going to put a little float of it right here. It's going to come in right around that grape there. And just pull it out like that. And this is going to give you a nice bright thing at the background. You're going to carry it over here. So brightest value towards that shadow that we built on that tabletop. Nice bright.
Asphaltum is the magic blending color.
It's a toning color, so you can subdue almost anything with it. So I've pulled a little of that light buttermilk along there. If you really want to make this sing a little bit, I've got a little bit of Sunny Day. And this is a highlight. We're going to put a little sunshine back there. And I'm picking up a little bit of Sunny Day. And I'm going to float that Sunny Day. It's just a wash right in there. So remember where that white is? I'm going to put a little of that Sunny Day, thinned it out, a nice little float, and now we've got sunshine back there. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just a little bit, just a little float right along that edge. And that puts that sunshine in there. So remember I said that these grapes were going to look less and less red as time went on. We're not quite as purple as the other ones, but we're getting there. And it was just that little bit of Asphaltum to help tone things down. I love that little bit of Sunny Day back there. It just brings a little more sunshine into it. And again, it's just a light little bit of that color. You can pull it all the way down if you want to. You really want these grapes to stand out, watch. Pull a little of that sunshine down in there. Sunny Day is a great yellow. It's ideal and it works so well. So a little bit of, so look at that Sunny Day in there. There's your sunshine on your surface. Just let that color run out and then walk it out that way. And there is your sunshine. Now we have one thing I want to do, and that is to deepen this corner down here just a little bit. I'm going to grab my high-tech applicator and a little bit of soft black, and I want to deepen this corner quite a bit. There we go. So just putting a little of that in there, but it changes how that corner works. There we go.
Somebody says they have one of your books.
Trendy Textures.
Yes.
There's a couple of pieces in there I'd really love to do for a Saturday Alive.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, one of them.
Tracy's book, Trendy Textures.
Yeah.
And she did with Doxy Keller.
Yep.
This will help me with some of the patterns I wanted to paint from the book.
I want to do that Chianti one. That's such a fun one to paint. So I'm going to dry this. Now, to finish this, you could spatter this with a little bit of Asphaltum or a little bit of soft black if you want. You could do almost anything with this. You want to age it up a bit more, go ahead. But
Pattern calls for black plum. Is
yes.
that discontinued?
I don't think so. I have some. I love it. Black plum is a great color. It's right here. Black plum. This is it's a very deep reddish purple. It's a really nice color.
Where does one get that book?
Trendy Textures is out of print.
Yeah.
I think I have a copy of it.
Copy?
A copy, yeah.
That's your copy.
Yeah. And mine is signed by Doxy Keller.
There you go.
Yep. We lost Doxy last year. She was a wonder. An absolute wonder. So there it is, guys. That is our textured grapes.
Boom.
Boom.
Face cam. Boom.
Fun piece. I know this one took a little bit of time, but it is a fun piece to do. The grapes are not difficult. I don't use a really difficult technique for painting grapes. And the leaves takes a little bit of practice to do that chisel blending, but it is such an efficient way of doing leaves. You kind of get your highlights and your textures and everything all in one shot, which makes it nice. And then of course doing that textured background. I love that type of background. It looks really great with all sorts of different colors too. You don't always have to have it with that raw sienna. It looks really good with a wide range of colors. Looks great with terracotta, and then go over it with a little bit of burnt sienna. Nice, rich, lots of heat. I love that. Looks really nice done with grays too. Use some of the warmer grays. It looks great. So don't be shy if you're playing with some of those textures, doing those textured backgrounds. Don't be afraid to try out some different colors on it, because you can have a lot of fun and create some really unique and signature looks for backgrounds and whatnot for your pieces. For next week, we are doing our 12 Days of Christmas. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll have everything in, the snowflakes and whatnot in for next week. This is the piece that we're doing. I love this piece. I don't often do birds, but I'm kind of obsessed. So right now I'm working on a blue jay because, I can't leave it alone once I get started. So I'm working on a blue jay. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. Lynn who?
I don't know.
So winner number 1 is Lynn, Lynne. That's
I saw her in the chat.
Yeah, she was in the chat. So Lynn, you're one of the winners. You've got a set of Dynasty Faux Squirrel brushes. So go to the website, click on the little speech bubble on the lower right-hand corner of the home page, and send us your shipping information. And for heaven's sake, send us your last name, because that would be helpful. That would be helpful even if we knew what it was. So congratulations, Lynn. You've got one, and we have another winner. Carrie Henderson is the winner of prize pack number 2. There's not just brushes in it. We throw in a few other little goodies too, because that's how we roll. So there's an envelope with your name on it coming your way. So if we don't have your shipping information, Carrie, please just click on that little speech bubble, send us a message with your shipping address, and we will get that out to you. They got goodies. He's shaking them like a kid on Christmas Eve. Yep. And we have one more to give away to the members. Guys, I'm excited about doing this holiday piece. It's going to be fun. The entire...
Nope, there she is. My first win!
Oh, goodness.
Lynn.
The entire list, membership list, is going to be added to the wheel for Wednesday night's class. Beth Root. Beth's won before.
Yeah.
Goodness. Congratulations, Beth. Beth, I know we have your shipping information, so we will get that out to you with Monday's mail. So I don't know that it'll be there for Christmas. Fingers crossed. And, hopefully that'll be nice. Same with all the other stuff. So for Wednesday night, like I said, just to have it base coated black, trace on your pattern, and base coat your teacup, your hot chocolate cup. That's all you need to do. And we'll be ready to roll on Wednesday night. For the members, we're going to have everybody in the list, because I know we have a few people that are not going to be able to attend. So to make sure that you guys get in on the prizes too, we're going to add the entire membership list to the wheel so that everybody gets a shot at some of the prizes. And we have not just one giveaway for Wednesday night. We have 3 really nice prize packs. So there's lots of goodies in that. And then join us on Saturday, December 4th for the 12 Days of Christmas. Bring a friend, have somebody come. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. We'd love to hit the 5,000 mark before December 4th. That would be so much fun. And brace yourself for lots of goodies, lots of prizes, and lots of fun on Saturday. So that's it for us this week. Thank you, guys. We love you. Mwah. Stay safe.
We got a question.
Oh, no. We have a question.
If you join the membership now, do you have access to previous month's videos?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Always. Yep.
So looking forward to December 4th.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, bring a friend. Your friend can be eligible to win.
Yep, absolutely. If you were in the chat, and if you haven't got access to the chat, just for heaven's sake, just send me a message through Messenger. We'll keep an eye on that during the class, and we can add your name to the list. So
how do you get on the membership list?
for
Join
membership,
the membership group on YouTube.
yeah, you go to my YouTube channel and hit the join button.
And the subscribe button.
And the subscribe button. Don't forget the subscribe button. Okay, any other questions before we go?
Can't wait for Wednesday and next Saturday. Yeah,
Yep.
It's going to be a busy week.
It's going to be a busy week, but it's going to be a fun one. Lots of goodies. Lots of goodies.
All right. Let's get the mouse.
He's waking up the mouse.
There we go.
Okay. I
It's
think.
hovering over that. There we go.
Okay. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Thank you again. Mwah. As always, love you. Stay safe.